Preparing for crisis. How is it that some people, when crisis hits, they're able to get on board and do what's needed at that point, and they move through it so easily. And yet for others of us, it's like a train has just smashed through our lives and everything's gone to pieces. We go, oh my God, some people, they must just have all this time that they can drop everything. They must have perfect family relationships. They must have perfect health. They must have so much in order. Those people, they're just, how fortunate are they that they've been able to be in that position, that their life hasn't been destroyed and I've got all this regret. You know what? I've noticed that it's not purely by accident that some people are able to deal with crisis so much better than the rest of us. In the last 4 years, I've been working with people in crisis point when it's usually people my age and older who have got a parent who's going into aged care. And sometimes they were able to say, look, this train was a long way coming. We knew that there were signs of dementia in the family. There was that history. We knew that they were starting to get more forgetful. There was stuff going on. We knew that we were always preparing for this day. So we put everything in place. But there's plenty of us where things have just come out of nowhere. And we've had to drop everything and try to deal with it. And we're scrambling and we're trying to figure out, you know what? It didn't have to be this bad. What could I have done in that point? So what I've come to learn is that there are 3 things that separate those who are handling things so much better. And these are the lessons that I'm learning and that I want to share with you to be able to adopt any of these strategies that work in your own life. So I've divided these into 3 categories. There's time, relationships, and health. There's so much I could be talking about with the person who the train wreck is happening to, but I actually want to talk to you and I. I'm talking to the kids of who this is happening to, because they may or may not be on board with, putting in place some things that are so obvious to us. It can be so frustrating to be able to go, I need you to be able to do an enduring power of attorney. I need you to start thinking about these and making some decisions and having some discussions. A lot of that's out of our control though. So let's focus on ourselves. What can we focus on? What in those 3 areas can we be doing? So time. When I've seen some people, they're just like, oh my God, yes, you're retired. You've got so much time in your hands. Of course, this is going to be so easy for you to be able to be there for all the doctor's visits, drive to all the appointments. But it's equally true that I've seen some people with very busy lives who they're torn in so many different directions. They've got work commitments, they've got family commitments, they've got so much going on in their life. To be able to put one extra thing, and it's not one extra thing, it's dozens of extra things that are going on for them. They've been able to handle this so much more smoothly. Sometimes it's just purely having a limitation. You know what? This is what I can do, and this is what I simply can't do. And I'm either going to outsource it to someone who can do this for me, or you know what, it's not important. That's going to be one of the things I'm completely at peace with not getting done. So there's a bunch of resources that I can share with you about people who can support you at this time, whether it be helping you understand the financial aspects of it, the medical aspects of it, getting the right care, and where's the best place for that. There's so many people that can help you with that. So feel free to contact me. I'm more than happy to share those resources specifically for the Brisbane and surrounding areas, Southeast Queensland. So more than happy to show you with that. But what I've noticed with those people who have got very busy lives is that they've been able to go, you know what, I know exactly what I'm going to do when I need to check out of my life, whether it's checking out of work. They've already had those conversations and they know what they can and what they can't do. They know whether they are able to pivot and be able to work from home, whether they're able to take some unplanned leave off. They've got the buffers in place to be able to go, you know what, I'm going to take a couple of months to be able to focus on my parent and be able to support them and see them through and to be there for my family, because that's what's most important for me right now. But they've also, think about your own life. What have you got on for the rest of today, the rest of this week? What are the things that are so important that they must be done, and they must be done by you? Is there somebody who you can call on to be able to help you with these things? What is it that you can put in place right now that can help you so that in the years to come, you're like, you know what? Yes, I can check out. I can actually go and drop everything, and I can be there and do what's needed. Or you can be at peace and go, I'm able to be there via video or via phone. I've got people on the ground who are able to help with the day-to-day aspects of what's needed. I am still going to be there. I'm going to be there present, but maybe not physically. So there's so much that we could be unpacking with this. But let's talk about relationships. In my work, it's devastating just how many families are fractured. They've got somebody estranged in their family that there's been this falling out, that they're not part of their lives anymore. And at this point, things can get really messy and ugly. When there are big decisions to be made and conflict. But you know what? It's not just fractured families that have this problem. Even the most loving, wonderful, well-meaning families can be torn and going in different directions. No, what your dad wants is to be at home, and he needs to be in his own bed, and he wants to have all the support there. Oh, no. That would just completely exhaust mum. She would not be able to sleep at night. She'd be so worried about her husband. We're going to have both of them go down if that happens. So what's best is to have this place. We need to be having discussions about who is empowered to make these decisions and putting in place the legal process. So having the enduring powers of attorney in place, getting the statement of choices filled in, having this information now will make life easier later on. And people knowing where to access this information and knowing who gets a say and who, frankly, I'm sorry, but you don't get to have a say in this. So it might be uncomfortable to have some of these discussions now, but it's going to be a lot more uncomfortable, and it could result in such delays. And even where I've seen enduring powers of attorney who've been torn with what is the best decision, and they've ended up arguing so much, and they've gotten QCAT, the Queensland Civil Administrative Tribunal, to intervene. And it's resulted in conflict and delays, and it's just been terrible to have that. So please, if you do have an enduring power of attorney, please read it. Make sure that the people who are the decision makers are still willing and able to act. I've even come across some people who are no longer alive or no longer able to be able to do that. Or there are people that just aren't on the same page. So we need to have it we need to have it a legal document as well. So it needs to be properly witnessed. So please make sure that those are in place and that those discussions are held so that the right people can be making the decisions at the right time. Health. I just had my 50th birthday and I got one of these in the mail. It's led to some interesting conversations over the last few weeks. I had coffee with a lady and she said to me that her daughter was so concerned about her. And I said, what are you talking about? What's going on for you? She goes, I was in hospital for a day and had to have a general anaesthetic, and my daughter's in Melbourne, but we're here in Queensland, and she was worried about how was I going to get home. And And I said, oh, wow, that's a big deal, having a colonoscopy. And she said, well, you know what, Kerry, I'm older than you. It's just what you do. And she shared with me that she's actually so happy and so at peace with being able to do this, because at this age, her dad had actually passed away from bowel cancer. And she said, at least her daughter, she might be worried about how is she going to get home from hospital. She's not going to be having the same issue. She's not going to be grieving that her mum died. There's some of us where we've had these kids and we haven't done anything with it. It's not just bowel screening. We know that as we're getting older, that we need to be having our checkups twice a year. There's an increasing list of all the things that we need to be doing. There's pap smears every 5 years. There's mammograms, having those regularly checked. There's all the things that we can be doing for our health. These are not huge time-consuming things. They're little things, but we tend to go, you know what? It's not a priority. We're busy. We are just going to take care of what's really important right now, and that just isn't anywhere near the top of the list. But very quickly, we can look back and go, you know what? If I'd stayed on top of all of these little things, I could have actually identified things so much earlier. It's not just people who are in great health who are able to deal with crisis. I've got one lady who she's undergoing chemo and she's there for her brother. I've got another lady, it's her husband, and she's in a wheelchair. She's only recently gone into a wheelchair from her own health. They're both very aware of what their limitations are, and they've got their team in place. They know who can support them, and they know who they need to call in to be able to support them, to be able to get what's needed. This time of our lives, when we do have a parent who's going through a crisis, it can be something that is going to be one of those defining moments in life. And for many of us, we're going to look at this time and go, oh my God, that was horrid. I'm devastated that I didn't take the time to go to those important meetings, that I wasn't there on the first day when they were moving in, to get them settled, to hold their hand, to make sure that they met a friend and that they were feeling safe and supported through this process. I don't want you to feel torn. I want you to feel that you've done all of these little things that can make the world of difference for you in the time to come. And hopefully this will never ever be needed. But wouldn't you be glad that you had the time, the financial cushion to be able to take that time out, to be able to know that there were people in your life to be able to call on and support? To get the dog fed, to get the meals done, whatever it is that was so important that you couldn't leave, take the time to be thinking about these. Make the doctor's appointments. Do the test.